So we are getting closer to, wrapping it up. We have a few things pending that I want to just soften her up, relax her a bit more, have a bit more character added to her, and I'm going to also work with the tangencies a bit more to sharpen and to soften some corners that we haven't done much tangency with her. So one of the things that we're doing here is we did the foot going out and in again, and I think I can use that opportunity to let the foot, when the foot goes out in that frame 8, I'm going to let the foot rotate outwards a little bit. So I'm going to let it rotate. I think it rotate in probably Y is the one that I want to use. So I'm going to rotate the foot at that point in Y. Let me see how it works. So I'm gonna just, if I would, it's a little too little there. So let me just change radic number. Let me just correct here. This is my right foot control. I'm gonna let it rotate. Let me say, I'm gonna say -20. I'm not convinced about it because that is rotating on the wrong axis. Let me pull my, that's not the axis that I want to rotate on. So I'm going to bring it back to 0. I could do that, but I'm not sure yet pulling that one. So let me test it here. I want it to be rotating on this axis like this. Actually, that's it. Yeah, so I'm going to just do that one. All right, so I'm going to just do it right here, -20. My keyboard is giving me, playing some games with me here today. And actually, it's not my keyboard. I'm working on Citrix right now. So okay, so that one is doing that. So the foot goes out, curves out a little bit, and then goes back again. So that actually kind of does the job. So it's not so rigid. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other foot when she is when the foot goes up, right? So it's, I think it's frame 19 in this case. When the foot arrives high, I'm gonna rotate in Y, and in the case that would be 20 positive, I believe. And that does the trick. Maybe it's a little much, but you start seeing her. I'm exaggerating, so she's very exaggerated right now. Feels her feet feel a bit off, a bit much, but I think for the sake of the exercise, I think it's worth doing it. Now, we've been playing a lot with all of this, but although she's shifting her weight, apparently she's not really fully shifting her weight because her torso is not going side to side with it. She's flipping her legs, and she's a better she's shifting her legs, rotating them, one of them in front of one another. But I want her to show a little bit of that weight as she is passing. So what I mean by that is that when the character is on the actual even, I want the whole weight to shift towards the foot a little bit, and then goes back to the other one when the other foot is even here. So that means that the translate in X can be fine-tuned a little bit. So I'm gonna just say the translate in X in frame 7. I'm gonna try to get her to go. As you see, my X has no changes at all. So there are a bunch of keyframes that I don't need. So let me just switch or push her translated X a little bit to the right there, so that her center balance tends to be more over the foot. So I must give her maybe 2. There we go. I'm gonna keyframe that. And then of course it's going to do the same when the other foot goes there, and this one's going to be -2. Right? So she goes side to side. That. But of course if I play it back, it's going to look a bit jerky. She's doing the shift, but she's returning very quickly because these other keyframes are stopping her from doing it now naturally. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lose all the keyframes that are making her go right away to the center, and then all the keyframes on X only. So I'm gonna delete those. That way I have a fluid curve of her hip going to one side and the other one, and you can see her shifting her weight a bit more naturally from one side to the other one. Again, all of it is subtleties that keep adding to the final effect. And I can go even I'm increment and save here. I can go more dynamic if I wanted to. And this one I'm going to show it. I'm not going to save it, but if you remember, we have this guy that allows me to move back and forth, and that one right now is locked because we're using the FK rig, but I can always switch to the IK spine, right? Of course my animation continues being the same, but now my IK, and I always use this one just after I am done with the basic FK. I know I'm going to animate her in frame 1, frame 13, and frame 25, right? So again, it's going to be that she's going to be pushed. In this case, I'm going to push her a bit more to one side and the other one to get her effect a bit more dramatic. So for example, in this case, I'm going to push her in X and positive. Let me try to give her maybe 5. Keyframe that. You see what's doing already, and these other two, I'm going to keep them at -5. I'm not sure if I did it or not. It seems that it took it. Yeah, so now here I'm probably a bit too much, but this gives her a very stylized look, unexaggerated. She's a bit too much. I'm really overdoing it, but it adds to the element of swing. I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. So I'm gonna make these guys -3, and this one we're gonna make it +3. So that way her look, she does it, but it's not that exaggerated. I could do the same thing with the shoulders to exaggerate a bit more. You can really push it because the IK allows you to do things like and that is all because of course we have the freedom to do it. Things like she could really if you want in this pose, she could really push one way or the other one. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep it the way it is, but you have the opportunity to be a bit more playful with your character. And uh, we will want to work not on that. We want to work on tangencies a little bit. Oh, I don't have a lot of tendencies to change on her, but I could say, for example, get her to sink a bit faster to slow down um, her landing, or slow down her going up to make it a bit faster on the landing. So of course, that is all graph editor. When we remember we have our tangencies, I'm not going to work on the IK anymore. I'm going to work on the FK one more time. Let's say, for example, to translate up and down, you see that she starts going down as she's easing out, and then rapidly up, um, and that um, I could maybe on the way down change a little bit of the tangency, so she has a sharper landing if I wanted to. Right now the landing is very there is an ease out that happens at the bottom of it, so I could change the way the landing. I'm not sure if that will work, but let me try it. I could change the landing to use the tangencies. Remember, we have the different tangencies because we have here this spline tangent, we have the clamp tangent, and then we have the linear. And these are kind of the automatic ones, like the one that generate curves, and this one is the straight one that we can use. Oh, let me just try to go here a bit wider, and that way I can look at them a little bit better. So I'm gonna change those at the bottom from uh, those automatic tangencies to linear, so she's a bit sharper as she's coming down. Let's just play back and see how that looks. So she lands a bit stronger. It's not that dramatic, but she lands a bit stronger, so when she goes down she recovers right away, so she doesn't take a long time to recover and get back up. The other thing I could do is that the tangency when she is arriving up, you see here, this one is trying to keep it semi-flat. I could go and modify this one, and of course that one too. And I could try grabbing the little guys. I'm going to grab the move tool, middle mouse button. I'm going to try to kind of get a little bit. Oh, not moving that. It's actually this guy, the one I want to move. So I'm going to just move up a little bit like that. And I'm going to move this one up a little bit like that. Oh, not that. It's this guy, the one that I want to move. That one. And so I'm going to just click like this. So then make my curvature, I'm just make it a bit more like pointy like this, so you can see the difference between one and the other one. It's a bit rounder. So that the way it was before, that the way is now, and that one. So when I see her, she goes up and a bit more. It's a bit rounder for her to come down. So let me just do it here too. So I can click on this one and then just move it up a little bit. I'm not kind of eyeballing it here. And this one also, click on the little guy and then move it up that way. So I can have a similar up and down. So if I play back, it just softens it a tiny bit more. And she's sharper at the bottom but softer on top. Other things that you can play with is when she's landing her foot, translating Y. So when the foot comes down, let me see, my foot goes down there. In my case, she is softly have a tangency that is easing out the landing, but depending on the character, I don't think it works for Sylvia, but depending on the character, you can change the tangency to become a more linear tangent, so that the lands a lot stronger, so she kind of stumps her foot as she comes down. And of course I have to do it on the other foot as well, and that would be me translating Y when the foot comes down linear. So you can go and let her feel her stomping. You can see her foot kind of hitting the ground a bit more strongly. I don't think that worked for her. I think that she is a bit softer, so I'm gonna just keep her. Not that, because that will make it curve. I'm gonna keep it like this. And I'm gonna do this one on the same one here on my translating Y. So actually that's this one. So I'm just gonna just use that, not that. Uh, Let me just make sure I got it right, because I don't think either of those are correct. It needs to be flat like this, but it's not taking it like that. It's what I wanted. I want it to be landing softly. So my tangency worked there. There was something else that I wanted to mention, and is that when you work on the tangencies with these tools, you have the option to break them. Say, for example, down here, you could, when she comes down, you can make her come down rapidly, but then when she goes back up, you can make her go up softly. So, and in that case, right now she's coming down sharply and leaving sharply, but you could break the tangency there by selecting the keyframe and clicking on on this little icon here that break the tangent. That way you can manipulate these ones separately, so one of them is sharp, the other one is soft. So let me see if I can do that on both cases. So here I'm gonna click on this guy. I'm gonna just break it so that I am going to bring her to be, and these are just very subtle cases, but you can exaggerate some more on yours. So she comes down faster, but then she can recover a bit more softly. It's very minimal, the amount of the detail you can see there, but it's starting to look good. All right, I'm gonna stop it there for now.